And we are 3 minutes late. Exactly. I'm so sorry. Um, I was at a family reunion. I left um, right when I needed to, but because I can't drive and I had to get people out the door, it took longer than expected. When we left, I looked at the GPS saying that we were going to get there at 5:49, but um, even if it said 5:49, we still didn't leave uh, our uh, our relative's driveway until like another minute later. So that made it say 6:50. So I was gonna get home right when we were supposed to start this marathon, and we didn't get in bad traffic. We did kill off a minute, so that was good. Um, so the reason why I didn't start on time is we got home at 6:49. Got to I had to wait. I still live with my parents, so to get to my studio downstairs, I had to wait for them to unlock the door, which took till like 6:51. They're slow. And then when I was going to start this live stream right at 6:51, I had to use the bathroom, and that led us to 6:53. So started late, but better late than never, right? And a couple minutes is not the worst live stream we've had. We've started at 8 before. We started at 7:30. It's been worse. And even times when we knew we were going to start at 7, there's been times we started at probably like 7:05 or 7 o'clock. We've had worse live streams back in our season 1 marathon. But season 2 we've improved, and season 3 we've been good so far until today. But no, we could still start the show at, we're still starting pretty much on time, only 3 minutes late. The first 10 minutes is only to get everyone to jump on. So I mean, we could still start the show at 7, right? Right, everybody? By the way, for Facebook people, I went live just a few seconds before YouTube. You guys were only 2.5 minutes late, but I didn't want to say anything because I got tired of repeating myself twice, So when I start your live stream, I usually start YouTube first. When I start YouTube's live stream, the reason why I'm quiet is I'm waiting for both streams. And I'm trying to push them both at the same time, but it's kind of impossible when you only have one mouse and you can only click one at a time. I go like click, go to the next tab, click. I have to switch tabs because they're on two different Chrome tabs, and so it takes only like 5 seconds, but still, one loads longer than the other to get started, and then I wait for the signal saying you're live before I start talking, so then that way none of my words get cut out. And so anyway, here this is me just waiting for both of them to start, and then that's when I say, hello everyone, welcome to our marathon. So anyway, yeah, so make sure that's why I don't talk right away. So hopefully you didn't click off just staring at my face thinking it was boring. Let's see, we are promoting group. Good. Pull yes, and then yeah, okay. I have a notification. Ooh. Okay. I get you. Facebook doesn't let me know how many people's watching until I'm done with the live stream. And so yeah. Oh, there's the group. There it is. And I share it to the group, of course. Share link, view post. Cool. Just looking at my Facebook live stream. So anyway, well, we should get started. We should not be talking about how streaming works, live streams and all. We gotta get talking about Once Upon a Time. I guess I could share the link if I wanted to. I remember the first live stream. I shared the link so so that everyone can hop on. But I stopped doing that after the first couple live streams because I figured you guys would all know where it is, but that's not why I stopped. It's just I forgot and I had a poor habit of not doing it. So, I mean, I do send the links after the live stream is made, and most people don't watch it live anyway. And so, I kind of figured if someone really wanted to ask me where the link was, I would send it to them. But I don't have any messages from people, so if you are sending a message and I'm not getting it, then hopefully you find another solution. You can always chat in the comment section on both either YouTube or Facebook. I did get an email the other day, and one thing I noticed about these live streams is that my welcome to Storybook shirt does not show very well. It just shows the top white part, and you can't even tell what it is. Sometimes I'll lay back, and you'll kind of see the welcome, but not the Storybook. I have to kind of hold it up like this, and a lot of times I do that. It's when people are not clicking on. So anyway, it's hard to be like this the whole time when you want to be up here watching the show. So anyway, restart to install. Restart now. Pick a time. I'll pick a time. My computer wants to restart. And so anyway, I don't want it to do that. I don't want to restart right now. So let me go. Let me pick a time and day for that. But anyway, as I was saying before the shirt, so funny thing about YouTube is I had an email the other day saying I lost privileges. And that's probably because of all the Once Upon a Time content I kind of borrowed slash stole from ABC. So maybe that's it. If you my YouTube channel, I don't just do these live streams. Occasionally, if I feel like it, I'll do some kind of random Once Upon a Time video, whether it's putting all the trailers and commercials into one compilation movie, or if it's the Comic-Con trailers in one video, or I'm releasing one this week about the Once Upon a Time specials, the 9 specials that we do at the beginning of seasons or beginning of arcs. I made a video just putting all the intros. Like every time we start a special, it always starts by saying, "Once upon a time, an evil queen cast a powerful curse that trapped everyone in our world." And then after like 2 minutes, "Welcome to Once Upon a Time, Journey to Neverland. Once upon a time, the price of magic. Once upon a time, magic is coming." Those are the only ones we've done so far. The title sequence happens at the very beginning. And so anyway, I just wanted to record a video of all the intros, all the beginning intros that start from the very beginning and go all the way to the first title entry of the special. And unlike Once Upon a Time, I know every TV show has their title entrances or title sequences right at the beginning, to let you know you're watching the right show. And sometimes they'll put a picture in the background to let you know what the episode is about. Like last week's episodes, the title sequences, we saw a mermaid sitting on a rock. We knew it was going to be about the Little Mermaid. And I knew about it because I seen the episodes before, and I already told you she came, right? I already told you. So we didn't need that title sequence. But for those who are just watching it blindly, you can know it's a Little Mermaid episode. We also saw the shadow, in last week's episode. And then the last episode we watched last week, we saw the... can't remember what we saw. But anyway, as we watched the Neverland arc, ones I remember, Tinkerbell using pixie dust to put on the Once Upon a Time title. I remember the Lost Boys just dancing in the background. We've had title sequences that represented the episode. The Once Upon a Time specials don't just do a Once Upon a Time title sequence, and it does nothing in the background because you don't need to know what the background's about. You can already get it from the get-go. It's a kind of a recap of what's been going on. You get to meet the creators, sometimes the cast. We haven't got to a special yet that has introduced the cast. We will soon, guys. Just you wait. But oh man, it's 7:01. We gotta get started. But the Once Upon a Time specials don't have anything in the background because they're not called Once Upon a Time. They're a certain title, like Magic is Coming, Price of Magic, Journey to Neverland. They're different, all right? But you can know by the title of what it's about and what it's preparing you for. You can know by the title. And anyway, but the specials are not like normal TV shows where you just have the title sequence appear once at the beginning of the show. It comes like every 7 or 8 minutes or whenever there's a commercial break. It comes back when let you know that commercial break's over. We're back to the show, right? They do that with the specials. But anyway, I wanted to record I wanted to record the first 2 minutes of each special. And, it records from the very beginning up to the first title sequence, which is 2 minutes into the video. So I wanted to record each intro that said, "Once upon a time, an evil queen cast," whether it was an ABC host or an actor from the show hosting the event, right? I wanted to record them all and put them all in one compilation video. And so anyway, so maybe that's why I got copyright, or not copyright. I didn't get copyrighted, but maybe that's why I lost privileges. But luckily those privileges don't affect our live streams. I was a little worried they did, but I looked it up, and the privileges they took away from me are not anything I really do. It does say though I can't post more than once every 24 hours. So luckily we just do one live stream a week. However, if this live stream gets cut off, we know we have times in the past where the live stream got cut off and we had to wait till you had to wait until I finished my Facebook version to download it on YouTube. If that ever happens again, I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, I think it will discount the live stream that got cut short if we delete it. So as long as I delete, if this live stream ends early when it's not supposed to, then I'll just delete it first, and then maybe it won't count, and I don't have to wait 24 hours to post the Facebook version. So anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen though. Hopefully the whole live stream is good and nothing shuts down while we're watching the show. Then we're good. It does. I just tested it today. It does let me post. So posts are not against it. It just won't let me put. It won't let me make a video. It will only let me do one every 24 hours. So anyway, luckily it's just one live stream a week. We're good. Though the video I'm sending this Saturday is going to air at 7. So that would be a problem if I can't start my live stream at 6:50. I don't know how strict they are on the 24-hour thing. Anyway, I'm trying to get it all fixed because I can't believe I lost privileges. But nevertheless, it doesn't bother me that much because it doesn't affect our once a week live stream. As far as next week, if we don't start at 6:50, we should be able to start 7 because that's the 24-hour mark. So we might lose the first 10 minutes, but we should still be fine next week. And we should all be good. But even though I don't need those privileges, it bothers me that I lost them still. So I'll probably get that fixed some point today. Yeah, let's do it at 11:59. Let's cuz my computer wants to reset. I'm like, let's do it at 11:59 or no, let's do it tomorrow. Just do it tomorrow. I don't know. I guess maybe today. I don't know. Okay, it says no, it won't reset till 11:59, which is fine because we end our show at 9:30. So anyway, yes, we gotta get started. It is 7:05. I am so sorry. I have not even started the show yet. We started 3 minutes late, so I understand if I didn't want to start till 7:03, but it's 7:05. So even if we started on time, it would be 7:02 right now. We're late regardless. So let's get started. Everyone have your episodes ready. Season 3, episode 9, Save Henry. Where we last left off, Pan just took Henry's heart, and he's immortal now. Henry's dead. Pan's flying out of Skull Rock. That's where we left off. So yes, they were able to find Henry and save him from Peter Pan, but they didn't save him in time to, before he gave Pan his heart. So now they have Henry, but they have to go get his heart back from Pan. So yes, hashtag save Henry tonight, everyone, because this is the end of our Neverland arc. We're about to see the final conclusion of Peter Pan. He's a villain, so he's vote if you want him to lose, vote if you want him to win tonight. So, and as far as people who are stuck in their childhood ways, you want Pan to win, but he's a villain in this show. And what do we say? Heroes always win, villains never win. So he has to lose somehow. Let's find out. Okay, so push play. If you have your timestamp at 0, I'll let you know how long it's supposed to be. Oh, come on. Okay. It is 44 minutes and 5 seconds for Disney Plus viewers. For anyone else who's watching it on DVD, I don't know. Just make sure you haven't played a single second. We always watch the recaps. I should have said that from season 1. I'm sorry. We always watch the previously on Once Upon. So make sure not a single second has played. Make sure it's pitch black, but you're ready to push play when I say now. Okay? So just wait. I do a countdown. It is 7:06. Now it's 7:07. I was going to say, okay. I was like, okay, 7:05, let's get started. Now it's 7:06, so let's hurry and get started. Now 7:07. Okay. So if we were starting on time, it would be 7:04 right now. But anyway, yeah, no more bragging or dragging. Let's get the show on the road because the later we start, the harder it is gonna be to finish on time. So all right, let's get started. Sorry, no more talking. 3, 2, 1, now. Wow, that recap is all the way. that recap is all the way back from season one pilot episode. So this episode has to kind of do with the pilot, flashback wise. And Regina gave up her father to cast the curse. She crushed her father's heart, who is also Henry, and her son is named after. So this is just a remembrance of how things were back in the beginning of the show. Look how far we came since the first episode. Except we know Emma she can't doesn't kill Emma. We see in the pilot. In your heart, yep. Because you killed your father. Now you don't have anyone who loves you. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, he wanted to go to the real world so he could find his son. We found that out in season two. Wow, all the seasons are coming back for this tonight's episodes. Like I said, this does feel like the end of a series when it's not. You get to see how far we come, and yet, unlike most shows that just stop, this goes on, and you think it's going to go on forever, and you're going to see where they'll end up in another 2.5 seasons, and then you get 2.5 seasons after that. That's about all you have. You got 7 seasons, and then a Wonderland series that's about a half. So 2.5 seasons that we're going to get through tonight. 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5 seasons in full. And then you got 6 and 7, and then Wonderland. So after tonight, we will be 1/3 through the show. And yet this feels like an end of a series. So that tells you that we're not even halfway done. And they could have ended the show after tonight's episodes. You'll see. I'm not going to spoil, but you'll see when we get to episode 11. This is 9. But you'll see when we get to 11. You'll see. You'll see. It will feel like a series finale. And you will cry because a main character will die. No spoiling. Sorry. But you will cry. The mayor, not the queen. A hole in your heart. That's true. Oh, Owen. Do you guys remember Owen? Greg from season 2? And he was in the first episode of the Neverland arc. They killed him off by taking his shadow. I'm so glad he's gone. He's the he's the worst villain. Not the worst villain character wise, but just not a good, like, out of all the actors, he doesn't play a villain very well. I didn't like Greg and Tamara arc. I'm glad that was pretty short at the end of season 2. He knows from experience, Bellfire. He gave up Bellfire. He learned to he should have put him first over his power. Run the show, Regina. Emma's been the main character for 2.5 seasons. She could use a break. She's been the protagonist for 2.5 seasons. Yep. You can kill Pan. He's immortal, but that doesn't mean he can't die. They could still kill him with a knife. I'm surprised it's that easy since only like Rumple can die if you can kill him with a dagger. But with any weapon, you can kill Pan, even if he's immortal. Pan never fails. Hashtag Pan never fails. I put that in last week's post. I like that line. Felix says it a lot. Pan never fails. Well, he does eventually. A mother. Yep. Emma grew up in the system. She knows what it's like. She gave up Henry. Henry always wanted to be with his mom. Tell the Lost Boys you can bring them back to their mother. Travel to Boston. Wait! Regina's not allowed to leave Storybrooke. Well, she cast a curse. Maybe she has an exception. Because anyone who leaves town, bad things happen. Remember season 1? It is exactly like that. You're not being metaphorically here. It's a real fairy tale land of sorts. Storybrooke is has all fairy tale characters in it. But she can't say that to a real life person. They'll call her crazy, and then she can't adopt. If only he knew that she was evil, then he wouldn't let Regina adopt. Henry, you remember at the beginning of season 3, we saw Emma give Henry up in a flashback. This was probably just recent. Uh, and that's how Regina adopted her son. We needed a flashback of how she adopted her son. Felix, be a better teenager. He's too loyal. Is a mother who doesn't break her promise with Henry, and she sure won't break promise with other children. They're all going home. We've been in Neverland for 4 weeks. It's time to be done. Of course not. Cry at Granny's. Who cares? Once upon a time, let's tell a story. We're watching a story right now. My favorite one. Oh, you threw up all over her suit. Babies is not as easy as you thought, Regina. Dr. Wells cut his hair. No, baby's not a smoker. Huh. Well, I remember in season one, Regina was really good at framing people and breaking the law, making everyone else pay for it. Good old Regina up to her schemes again. It's nice to see that in flashback. Days of the curse before it was broken. 18 years, because Henry was 10 when the curse broke. So this is 18 years, 10 years before Emma's 28th birthday in the pilot. Aww. That's true. Because Snow White is trapped on the island with David because he can't leave unless he wants to die. The healing water of Neverland comes with a price, everyone. Henry, even as a baby, knows she's evil. That's why the baby was crying. I bet. Oh, but now he sees the good in Regina. He definitely forgets that as he gets older and wants to find Emma. Henry's the start of this show. If he didn't go get Emma, none of this would happen. Regina found out who the girl is, the mother. The day the curse was cast, this town had created. She's the baby. She's the baby that Rumble told you to get rid of. The savior. That is kind of what he wants, even if he's hiding it. Tomorrow, you have to hold on to him one more day. We all know that doesn't happen. The curse is uneditable. It would have still been broken somehow by Emma if you took Henry back and never adopted him. Then you wouldn't be a mother to Henry, though. And then you wouldn't have Henry to protect you from being killed by all those fairy tale mobs at the beginning of season two. Booby trap. The only way they're going to save Henry is death because he's dead for now. She's having a hard time giving up the child when you only knew him for like a day. Oh. The story of how Regina adopted her son. How cute. Gives you mercy on Regina for all the evil she's done, doesn't it? The capability to love a child can change a villain. You know what? I need to go to Rumpelstiltskin. Because what? Because you could. Why get married when you could just? Because when you could just adopt. Aw, cute. She changed her mind. We all know that was gonna happen. Like Emma did. Pan. You said pan in front of him. Maybe it was meant to be a whisper, but for us to, as an audience to hear. That was John and Michael. They wanted Henry. Probably to take him to Neverland as a baby, I guess. Then Pan can easily take his heart without giving him permission because he's a baby. That would have been a better plan, actually. Good thing Regina adopted him. They Pan is not redeemable. You cannot redeem him. Sorry, Emma. There's another way for him to live. He doesn't deserve it. You are okay with your sins, Regina? I mean, that's bad. Oh, because he got you your son. You don't regret your sins anymore because you have your son. I mean, I guess that's understandable. Nice try, Pan. You failed. And you took the box before you could grab it back. Pan did not expect that from the queen. Hey, thanks to Regina, everyone can go home. Yeah, and the heroes, we found out Pan was Rumple's father um, in last episodes last week, but the heroes didn't know that until now. So that's kind of a cool reveal for them. We already experienced it last week. No, you're not. You're not too late. Henry's awake. They got his heart back. They saved him. He's awake. They saved him finally. Walk over. Not yet. Henry hasn't seen Hook as a good guy because he hasn't been rescued till now. So I'm surprised he's happy to see Hook. Hmm. Yeah. Enjoy the present. We all know what happens in the future. Emma does come back and wants to take back her son because of how evil she is. Eventually, they do learn to share him, but her fears do actually come true, as we've seen in the first two seasons. This is a good back flashback to how things were before the show started. This really does bring the whole show full circle. But if only it was the end of the show, would that be a perfect circle? It's not. We got way more story and another circle to go around. By the time we get to the end of the show, the characters will be way different than how we are right now. Than how they are right now. They're way different than how things unfolded in season one. They're going to be way different from how they unfold in season three. As we continue our marathon weekly by weekly, 3 episodes by 3 episodes. She's finally telling Henry a story that he's not throwing up about. She's telling the story about how she cast a curse. Regina, it's just a baby. You don't know what it's saying. He's pretending like Henry understands. Babies don't understand what you're saying right now. Uh oh. My video just freezed for a second, so you might not be synced anymore. But this episode is almost over, so you just got to survive 10 more minutes. It only froze for like 2 seconds, so if you want to pause the video, you can, but I'm not. Regina drank her forgetting potion so she would forget about the child's biological mother. That's a mistake because when she comes, she's unprepared to face the consequences of Emma's journey to Storybrooke. Not return because she's never been there. I was going to say return, but that's how she got the way she was at the beginning of the show. She was not prepared to see Henry's birth mother because she drank a potion to not worry about it. That wraps that flashback up, and that's how Regina adopted Henry. A good mother and son episode for this episode because they saved Henry's heart and they finally freed him from Pan. They're finally sailing on Hook's ship. We're leaving Neverland once and for all, but we still have 2 more episodes to watch tonight, so don't say goodbye yet. And you'll see why without spoiling. You'll see why by the end of this episode, what I'm talking about. Because if this was the end of the Neverland arc, I would have finished it last week. But there's actually 2 more episodes, even if they're not in Neverland, they're still about Neverland. Like I said, half season arcs. So half of 22 is 11, not 9. We'll get to episode 11 after we watch 9 and 10. We're finishing 9 right now, though. We're almost done with 9. See? Even though Pan was dying without Henry's heart, he still has a few minutes left in that hourglass to probably do something else. Hmm. We haven't seen Rumple at all this episode. He was still trapped in that box from last week. He's back! Yay! Aw, they freed Rumple. Now everything's complete. Pan was Rumple's father. They're all just realizing it. But yeah, Rumple is different because Rumple came back for Bellfire. He regretted his decision, where Pan didn't regret it. Now they get to have what they always wanted, a family. It's been hard to do that when you're stuck between realms and stops trying to save magic from strangers and then going to Neverland, adventure after adventure. You haven't had a chance to really be a family with Snow and Charming, Emma. Well, Pan's defeated. For now, he's not dead. He's trapped in a box. So that's why it's not the end of Peter Pan. It might be the end of Neverland, but not Peter Pan yet. Like Cora, he comes to Storybrooke, but not for long. Cora was almost all of season 2, but this is only half season arcs. So Pan can only be in Storybrooke for like an episode or 2. So that's why I think it's a great time once they actually defeat him for good. We could do the Wonderland series next week. All right, use the shadow to make the ship fly, and then we can get out of here. We saved Henry. We freed Rumple. Everyone's reunited. We put Pan in a box. Now we just got to release the shadow and force it to make the ship fly. Second star to the right. No, second star to the left if you're going from Neverland's point of view. Second star to the left and straight on till real world. Finally. Yeah, let's leave Neverland. As you wish, my lady. There we go. Everyone say goodbye to Neverland. We're never going to see it again. Bye bye, School Rock. Bye bye, Neverland. But the Pan arc is not over yet. I'm calling it Pan arc. We're done with Neverland, but we're not done with Peter Pan. Yeah. Yeah. Emma didn't think we were going to get out of that place, and Charming didn't think we were all going to eventually work together, but it worked out. It's called the Avengers. Have you seen the Avengers where multiple superheroes from different franchises work together? That's what Once Upon a Time just did. You got Peter Pan characters working with Snow White characters and Rumpelstiltskin beating the Beast characters working together from all different Disney properties to save Henry. Villain, pirate, hero working together. You never see that happen. Hero and villains on the same side. That's weird. But now, hopefully, these are villains are now good guys. Hook, Regina, and Rumple after their journey to Neverland. We believe in you, Tinkerbell. Did everyone hashtag Tinkerbell for those who believe in fairies? Did anyone do that? I hope so. She can get that dust working again. Like father, like son. You did leave him for 10 years, but you'll never leave him again. Just like Rumple will never leave you. Why do you not believe anymore, Tinkerbell? You only believe for a second? Though we will see Robin Hood and Regina get together. So don't worry. Tinkerbell's still right about Robin Hood being her next soulmate. To not replace Daniel, Daniel will always have a place in her heart, but to have someone else to move on with, she will get that. Pen never fails. Yep. Have you guys seen Freakier Friday in theaters? Pan. Wow. So the actor of Henry, he got to play Peter Pan for an episode. Can't wait to. We're gonna start that one right in a second. Go ahead, push it, pause it though, and then and yeah, 44 minutes and 5 seconds again, just like last episode. So make sure you have that on your Disney Plus timestamp. Otherwise, don't push a single second yet. Make sure it's all the way back to 0 seconds on the clock because we're going to watch the recap. But anyway, yes, Peter Pan never fails. We heard this exact same thing when we started season 3. After we watched our special Journey to Neverland, Henry was with this lost boy who we later at the end of the episode found out was actually Peter Pan all along. And he said, "Come on out, boys, let's play." And now he's like, Peter Pan never fails, even when they think he's defeated. Now let's play. Now it's an all new game. First, it was to get Henry's heart for like 9 episodes. That was long. It took us 4 weeks. But now, for the last 2 episodes, it's about switching bodies with Henry. Who knows what his plans are this time? He cheated his death even without Henry's heart. So that means we still have Peter Pan to deal with. But unlike Cora, who lasted all the way till season 2, episode 16, and her arc didn't end until episode 18, and then we had Greg and Tamara that we were stuck with for 4 episodes. That is not like this season. It's not messed up like season 2 was. It's more divided to half season arcs, and it's more organized. And so with that said, Pan may be coming to Storybrooke, but it can't survive as long as Cora did. They'll defeat him pretty quickly. So anyway, yes, Pan and Henry switch bodies. We'll see what happens next. So I hope you have your next episodes ready because we're gonna push play. But it's a nice flashback wise to see Regina adopt Henry. It's a nice little flashback. And then we saw her in present day do it. She ended up winning the day. If it weren't for her not having regrets on her sins, she wouldn't be able to break through the vines. Sometimes it's okay to not regret making sins, because then that will eventually help you get out of regret tree traps. So, maybe sometimes save your repentance for after you're tied to a regret tree and you have to have no regrets to get out. Anyway, I'm just kidding. That will never happen to you guys. This is just a fairy tale. But anyway, yes, because of Regina having no regrets for all the evil things she's done, that's how they were able to get Henry's heart back. So, Regina, who is the adopted mother of Henry, official mother of Henry, well, Emma is too, but you know what I mean. No wonder we got a flashback of how she adopted him, because it was her that saved the day in the end. So good. It was a nice episode. This next one is not going to be as special as the one we just watched, but it's still a great episode, because following after that, we're going to get a really great episode. Probably the best episode in the whole series. Not according to my opinion, but according to statistics and other people and what they said about it. So population wise, this is where a lot of people okay, you have a Once Upon a Time show. Some people thought it overextended its run a little bit. And, the first straw where they thought the show could have ended is halfway through season 3. So in these next 2 episodes, we're about to see why that is. Because it does start feeling like a series finale, and that's why we're getting all these season 1 callbacks in these episodes, is because it feels like, the end of a series, when really, they didn't get, they weren't threatened that they were going to get canceled, or they weren't, even though they probably didn't get a renewal for season 4 yet. Usually that happens in the second half of the season. So, it's not like they thought this was going to be the end of the show, but knowing this is at the point where the ratings start to dip a little, but they go back up in season 4. So actually, there's a slight possibility, and they were dipping a lot after the first half of season 3. They dipped. They dropped 3 million. So they started around 12 million. They stayed in the 11s for season 1 and 2, and then season 3 they went from 11 to 8, and then by the end of season 3 they were around 8 million viewers. So they dropped a lot of viewers during season 3, even though most people say season 3 is the best season. And then season 4 brought it back up to 10 million. And so anyway, yeah, I don't think they thought it was going to get canceled, but for some reason they had, I was watching an interview one time where they said that they were planning a reboot close around to season 4. and so and they didn't do it till season 7. And so anyway, they plan to reboot as early as season 4 until they decide to continue with the originals uh ser- series cast. And so anyway, this probably was their first attempt to possibly do a reboot, and then they're like, no, we changed our minds, because in the second half of season 3, it's not a reboot, trust me. It's actually a continuation from where we left off, but it's a time it's after a small time jump, but it's small enough where it's not a reboot. Everyone's still around the same age. It's just a couple years or so. Anyway, it's actually only 1 year. So, spoiler alert: time jump is only a 1 year difference. So, anyway, it's not really a reboot or anything, but like what I mean. And so, anyway, but it is a nice way to kind of refresh the story. You still have the same characters, the same flashback. People are doing callbacks to when they defeated Peter Pan, but like you get a new story that isn't tied to the previous one, because Neverland was tied to the Korra's death. The people who were in Storybrooke, Greg and Tamara, were around during Korra's death, and they eventually kidnapped Henry. So Peter Pan arc was tied to the Korra arc, and Korra was tied to the breaking of the curse. So everything was tied to each other. And by the time we finished the first half of season 3, there's a big distinction. There's no tie-ins. There's no cliffhanger that lets you know where we're going in the second half. And so anyway, this is why I thought it was a great time to pause it, because again, there's a time jump. You'll even see Henry sound older. So his little kid voice, you stop getting used to it, because you only have 2 more episodes left of it. He's gonna get a more teenage voice. He's gonna have a deeper voice when we get into season 3, episode 12. So anyway, I think because the actors age in real life, I think that's why they did a time jump after the first half of season 3, because of actors' ages. And so anyway, so that's why they did that. And what am I doing? I'm just rambling on forever. Um, but yeah, but like it does feel like a series finale. Out of any, so I told you for the seasons here on out, they're half seasons each. Out of any of the half seasons, this feels like a more conclusion than what we're gonna get in the later halves. And so this is why I thought out of any season we could have paused the show and watched Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. This would be the season to do it. Plus, it aired during this season. So anyway, we're gonna watch episode 10 now of season 3. But once we finish episode 11, we're gonna stop, and and then it will feel like the end of the show. But then, for those who don't listen to me rant, you'll be surprised when we finish Wonderland. We're gonna be like, back to Once Upon a Time season 3. We're not done, not even halfway. This marathon is planned to go all the way to end of May of next year. So we got a long ways to go. But I'm excited because it's my favorite show. Anyway, let's start the next episode. No more talking. It's almost been an hour. Oh my gosh. We are probably not gonna have time to do Q&A at the end, because if we start now, we're probably barely going to be done by 9:30, like our usual time is. So anyway, put your timestamp at 0. We're gonna when I say now, we're gonna push play. 3, 2, 1, now. I'm gonna respond to comments while we're watching, because I got some comments here on Facebook. Ariel and Eric are reunited in the Storybrooke. Happy ending in the real world. It's Medusa. Ooh. Anyone know the story of Medusa? Let's see. I'm almost done responding to all my comments from one per person actually who commented 4 times. Wendy, John, and Michael reunited, though it's kind of awkward because John and Michael grew up when Wendy did not. So imagine your oldest sibling going to Neverland, and then they come back home, and you're older than them. You're like you haven't you like you're the youngest of 4 kids, and you have your oldest sibling who goes to Neverland, and then you end up being older than them. That's weird. So that's like my sister Madeline going to Neverland, and then no, 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 no. It's like me going to Neverland and then waiting and staying in Neverland where I never grow up. I'm already grown up too late. Staying in Neverland where I never grow up until Madeline gets past my age. That's weird. Oh, they're trying to give Regina credit so she doesn't feel left out like she did in season 2. So good job. You were better this time. All right. I'm done responding to comments. The only reason I know what's going on is because I can hear it, even though I'm not watching. Now I can watch. Wait, what about YouTube? There's never comments on YouTube. Maybe that has changed. I don't know. No comments as usual. Facebook is the only one that does at least a few, but not a lot. We've seen Snow and Charming's wedding. We've seen the proposal. We've seen them give birth to their child, but we've never seen their honeymoon. So that's a cool flashback. We jump from Regina adopting Henry to their honeymoon, which is almost in the same timeline. Because, I mean, adopting Henry, there was most of the flashback, but the first scene we saw was before Regina cast the curse, when she was talking to Rumpel, and Rumpel saw her having a hole in her heart, and then we saw that as the flashback jumped forward, and she actually had the hole. This is also right before that, because it's also before she cast the curse, and it was after Snow White and Charming's wedding when she cast it. Took 9 months, of course, because Emma had to be born, but still. Felix, you're going to jail. If I were Pan, I would not switch bodies with Henry. I think being trapped in a box is better than, well, not true. But considering Pan's evil deeds and possibly not repenting for them, it can't be better than where he's going after he dies. The box is better than prison. Spirit prison. Pan. Yeah, marry Belle and have kids. That's your future. Don't need to worry because Henry's not your undoing. So you don't need to worry about that prophecy. He was supposed to give that to Tamara. Things are kind of taking on where they left off in season 2 before Henry was kidnapped. Now he's not engaged to Tamara, so he doesn't need the book to prove that fairy tales are real. Though he already showed Tamara the book, he's probably going to show it to her again. That's why I brought it back. Nice little twist. There's the punchline Hook was trying to give you, Neil. He's not going to take Emma back. He's going to wait until she decides if she wants to be with Neil first. That's a great way to do a love triangle. Just be smart and wait until the other loses and then try to win their heart. Ouch. Blue Fairy can't give Tinker wings back still. Oh my goodness. But Regina finally is good. She won. You're trying to ask Emma on a date, Neil? You're trying to get back with her? Go on that date. If a girl did that to me, it's mostly the boy who asks, but in the rare occasion a girl did that to me, I would show up because I'm single and I hope not to be someday. Yeah, yeah. Emma is acting a lot like Snow White when she was on her honeymoon. Always worried about the next fight. When Snow White was worried about what Regina was going to do next, Emma's worried about who the next villain's going to be, or if Pan is still out there. Oh, really, Snow? Really? Snow White was tricking Charming. She was really here to find a weapon to defeat Regina, and Charming knew. Caught her red-handed in her armor. Medusa. I know that fairy tale. Not because I've seen Once Upon a Time, but because I've heard it growing up before the show. And there was no Disney movie about it. And so I don't know how I knew it. Because I was into fairy tales, but only Disney specifically. So there had to be a Disney movie if I wanted to know about it. And yet I knew Medusa and I never heard of the fairy tale or remember hearing it. And yet I heard of it before. I don't know where I got it from. But at least the first time I'd seen it on TV was Once Upon a Time. And that picture is in the storybook. We haven't had flashbacks like that where it was coming from Henry's book since season one. That means Neverland's good for kids who don't want bedtimes from their parents or roles, and for that matter. No wonder they wanted to go to Neverland until they find out that it's a death wish to be kidnapped by Pan. First night home. Nice computer to do homework. Nice CD player. You're playing with your stuff, Henry? Mm-hmm. Listen to your mother. Who's not your real mother because you're Pan in Henry's body. It's nice because the actors can't switch bodies in real life, so it's nice playing the other character for once, being evil. The character Henry hasn't is not being evil, but the actor has to play evil Pan, even though he's played Henry this a long time. The shadow's free. He escaped. Charming recalculating his first met with Snow is kind of funny. How cute. Rumple made the elixir pretty fast. Now he doesn't have to worry about dying. They brought some of the Neverland water with them so that he could survive at least a little bit until it ran out, and then now he has an elixir to prevent that from happening. Now he doesn't have to drink the water till he runs out. Happy ending. Doesn't have to stay in Neverland. Woohoo! He's happy to be in Storybrooke for good. Charming's healing is gone. We don't have to worry about his poison heart anymore. You wanted to start having a baby right now? Go upstairs and have the S word? No, I didn't mean right now. And Snow was like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, oh, wait. No, she's talking about Neil sitting all alone. He's not talking about, I don't want to get pregnant right now. Doesn't sound enjoyable from that perspective. Snow. The good old child word of birds and bees. Snow White thought the same way on the honeymoon. Yeah. If you keep worrying about stuff, you're gonna miss out on the present moments of family and love and moments shared together. You're gonna miss out if you worry about future stuff. And that's what watching this show on Sunday nights is for. Put your schoolwork aside and not worry about it for 3 hours, 2.5. Does he eat with his mouth open? Does Neil eat with his mouth open? Yeah, you're a married man. Well, actually, though, did Neil and Emma really get married? I never saw that wedding. I think they were just together and happened to have a baby. I don't think they really got married. Emma could just marry someone else and move on. You're a married man, Charmy says. Hook is trying Hook is trying to move on from Emma and using Tinkerbell as the person. Perhaps. Thanks for making it worse. You don't know what Emma was talking about. Were you two together? No. Just say no. Perhaps. Okay, we were. She meant together, together. Oh, Blue. The shadow took her shadow, her life. Pan. Pan is still out there. And he's in Henry's body. He can order the shadow to kill whoever. Ooh, something's happened. Henry, you are what's happened. Well, Pan, not Henry, not the spirit of him anyway, just his body. Henry's body did something. Pan and Henry's. Okay, that just sounds weird when you have people switch bodies. You can't cut off her head with a sword, apparently. They're using a distraction. Throw that helmet across the aisle. Distract her while you run for escape. Nope. Haha. Medusa's not letting you escape. Haha. Don't look at her in the eyes. She'll turn you into stone, as the legend says. And I don't know how I still found knew that my whole life. I don't remember even when I first heard about Medusa. Probably since I was like a toddler. Oh, you looked right into the eyes, Charming. You're a statue. Don't look, Snow. Put your hand in front. Charming. Aw. Yep, because he wants Henry's heart to live forever. He's still a threat. Like I said, Pan's story was not over. Our trip to Neverland could have been over, but not the whole arc. And it's not gonna. But The arc is almost coming to an end. It's gonna be done in one day. If this was season 2, probably not, but season 3 starts the half arcs. At least Regina's able to accept that they're both mothers. She thinks Emma's doesn't can't accept her as a mother, but she does. But she doesn't think so. And then she's like she tries to prove it by saying, try not to worry about some comfort over our son. So it's kind of cool how she says our. She's already accepted Emma as a mother. Now Emma needs to accept Regina as a mother. Emma's not jealous though. She just knows something's off, and we all know what she's feeling there. It's like the still small voice, the spirit saying, "That's not Henry. Follow that gut." Regina's watching. Snow turn her prince into a statue. Regina, you're so cruel. I didn't realize I could sit back, not cast my evil curse, and relax and just see you destroy it by accident yourself, your own happiness. Poor Snow. It is your fault. Thank you for accepting that. Now, fix your mistakes, unlike Regina. I mean, she fixes her mistakes in the present, but not the flashback. Don't listen to the evil queen. You are not evil. Um, you can defeat Medusa. You can fix your mistake. That Medusa just looks at herself and turns herself into a statue. That's smart. That's how they defeated her in the legend. Is that some people just used a mirror or a shield of some sort where she can see her reflection, and that's how Medusa was defeated in real life. You almost wasted your whole honeymoon on Medusa. Now it's time to make up for it and enjoy your time at the Summer Palace, which we don't need to see a flashback of. Their kind of honeymoon is different than a normal one. They love adventure. They can't stop adventuring and fighting bad guys. Putting him over the town line where he can't use magic because there's no magic in the real world. And so, with Storybrooke being the only place in the real world where there is magic, you just send him over the town line, which still exists from when the dwarves put spray paint at the beginning of season 2. Yep. Emma wants to do it. Rumple. Imagine letting Rumple go over the town line. He would have killed the real Henry, not knowing. Shoot him. Nope, Emma's not. Oh, imagine the Peter Pan actor having to play an iconic character from season one, too. Knowing that he had to do his homework or read the script that Adam and Eddie made. Rumple won't. Finally, they know it's Henry. They know that Pan and Henry switched bodies. No need to put the threat on the wrong person. It's weird seeing Henry as an older teenager. Yep. The actors didn't switch bodies in real life though. So imagine you're on a show and you have to play another character on your same show. It's kind of fun. You get to be other people for like one day or one episode. So if that's Pan, if that's Henry, where's Pan? He's in Regina's vaults. And Regina's just watching. Regina's just watching. Doesn't know that this is Pan. Save your breath, Regina, until you have your real son back. Save your breath. You'll promise to be a better mother to the real Henry, not Pan. And she knocks him out. I mean, he knocks him out. Her out. I can't get my genders right. Yes, it's so easy. Great. Evil, kind of evil Henry, but really evil Pan. The world's always a wicked place, no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Can't let there will always be other trials. You have to focus on the good moments and separate them from so Snow is saying, it's better to find the good moments and separate from all the bad ones that we experience in trials. And what better is to make a great moment than to have a child and start a family? Yeah. And then that's how they started getting sex and having Emma. So. That's them deciding to have a child after their honeymoon. And 9 months later, Regina cast her curse. Don't burn Henry's face. We do not want that. Oh, back. Now you're really with your father again. Not the not the fake son that Neil was hugging an episode ago. Mhm. Regina locked it up so that she could protect Henry from Pan. Emma's having the same problem Snow did in the flashback. There's always a new villain to fight, right? And the show, like I said, the show tricks you into thinking it's wrapping up, but it's not. So being the save, you don't get a day off. Exactly. Once you defeat Pan, the next villain comes along, and you go adventure after adventure after adventure until you get through season 7. And we're only on 3. And there's 22 episodes a season, so it takes longer to get through one season alone. We are about to watch the epic conclusion in a few minutes. I hope people tune in because in just a few minutes we're about to hit witness what could have been the greatest series slash season finale, but it's not even a season or a series finale. The ultimate sacrifice to defeat evil once and for all. Pan. Henry and Pan's body. But yeah, focus on the good moments in life. That's the lesson of this episode. Don't worry about the bad moments and the trials you face, you know. Don't worry about the next fight. Focus on the good moments that you have right now. Focus on the present. Don't worry about the future, which is also something episode 9 taught us with Regina adopting Henry. You took ingredients, a curse. The curse. Mhm. Good question. The new Neverland in the real world? Neverland in the real world. New Neverland. Boom, end of episode. Okay. Okay. Push it, but pause it, as usual. Um, there's no I've seen this episode billions of times. It's one of my favorites. It has no flashback, but make sure it's still at 0 seconds regardless. 44 minutes and 8 seconds is on my Disney Plus timestamp if you have Disney Plus, so that's what should say on yours in the time that's remaining. But anyway, before we watch the final episode of the night, I just need to say, so yes, they're casting the Dark Curse, but it was already cast. The characters are already in the real world, fairy tale world. That's a whole different thing there. But they're already in the real world, and Emma already broke the curse. But that doesn't mean it can't be cast again. And without Emma's true love, even she would be powerless to break it. So then no one would break the curse. And what would it and with everyone all what's more real than the real world? Are we fictional too? Is there a more real world better than us? No. No. This is the real as it gets. Everything else is fiction. So anyway, if they're already in the real world, then what would the curse do now? As Pan said in Henry's body, it will do the same thing the other curse did, but instead of ripping everyone from the land, because they're already in the land that the curse would have took them to, so they don't need to be ripped from it like they were in the Enchanted Forest. Since they're already in the real world, instead of being ripped from the land, the curse would just, again, like the first one, take their memories and they'd forget who they are, and then instead of Regina being in charge like last time, it would be Pan in Henry's body in charge. And it would be the new Neverland. Neverland's no longer past the second star to the right. Neverland is in the real world and you could drive there. Anyway, I'm making a big deal out of nothing. But anyway, that's what this episode's about. He's going to cast the curse. And remember, if you remember season 1, episode 2, when Regina had to crush her father's heart to cast the curse, and Pan it will crush her heart in the next episode, so pre-warning. There will be a death scene in a moment. But anyway, when the curse is cast, it cannot be stopped. Once it's cast, they said that. The Blue Fairy said that to Snow and Charming. It's already too late. The curse has already been cast. There's no stopping it. And so anyway, that's why they had to put Emma in the wardrobe, because it was the only way. This is the same thing. The curse is already cast, so even if they stop Pan in this next episode, that's not going to stop the curse, which is why I'm saying now it's still kind of spoiling, so I'm going to wait until we watch the next episode to explain. But you're starting to get why this kind of feels like a series finale, because the curse is cast and they're not going to stop Pan in time before he casts the curse. So it's not really a spoiler. I guess he didn't cast it yet as of the end of the episode, but he does in the very first scene of the next episode. So it's not really spoiling much. You're going to see it. You're going to see he cast the curse. And so I'm not going to spoil anything for the remainder of the episode, but I'm just going to say that, no, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm just going to say, however, I know how they do it, but I'm not going to say anything. However they defeat Peter Pan, it doesn't matter because the curse cannot be stopped. They said that in season 1. That's what I was trying to say without spoiling, because it's not a spoiler. Back in season 1, they said the curse cannot be cast. Cannot be stopped. And once it's cast. So anyway, once Pan casts the curse, they can't stop it. And that means it's going to do something to everyone. And it's going to feel like a complete reset. They do have a way to get around it. There's loopholes. As Rumpel always says, there's a loophole around it. But this loophole still involves almost a complete, ending. Only it's not the ending of the show. Even though it does tie up all loose ends and stuff, there's not an ending. It continues. The show never ends. Even though all things have to come to an end at some point, it's nowhere close to that point. So I'm sorry if you thought this was your chance to say goodbye to the cast. It is, because we're going to do the Wonderland series next week with new cast, with no recurring characters from the original show. And there will be a few pop-ups and every now and then, but no new. And in fact, there's only 3 pop-ups. As in episode 1, 3, and 11, there's one guest starring character from the original show that pops up for one episode. But that's it. Like, besides 1, 3, and 11, the other episodes that are within the 13, they're focused on the Wonderland cast, and there is no connections to Storybrooke. You don't even need to watch the main show to understand Wonderland. So anyway, different show, different conundrum. So yes, we are saying goodbye to the cast, but we're not saying goodbye forever. When we finish Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, we're coming right back. So you only have to say goodbye to them for about a month, because Wonderland is going to be done just like Neverland. It's going to be done within 4 weeks. So yeah, you'll have to say goodbye to them for 4 Sundays, which if you count today, that's going to be 5, right? 5 weeks. You're not going to see them for 5 weeks. So get ready to say goodbye to the cast, because we're not going to see them for 5 weeks. All right, starting the next episode. And it's going to end right at 8:30, so there will be no Q&A tonight. I mean, it will end right at 9:30. There's not going to be no Q&A tonight, because I talk too much in between episodes. So we're gonna start this winter finale. So get ready. Last episode of the Neverland arc. We're starting it in three, two, one, now. Especially the ladies watching. Have tissues on hand. It's very sad. We are going home. That's what this title is called. Last episode. See, it's possible to stop it. Yeah, use the scroll. Episode 10 was called The New Neverland. Episode 9 was called Save Henry. This one's called Going Home. We're going home with a bang. Hitting a home run tonight. Peter Pan never fails. That's sad to say. He never fails. He actually succeeds in casting this curse, sadly. Heroes don't always win, guys. Even in a fairy tale. That's what Once Upon a Time teaches us. Doesn't always win. We fail sometimes. Felix, you're under a death wish. Henry, the actor of Henry, pulling out hearts. Now that's harsh even for a child. But I know he's supposed to be playing Pam because they switched bodies. But still, Henry crushing Felix's heart because that's the only person he actually loved. How hurtful is that if you're Rumpelstiltskin and you found out the only person your father loved was was his best friend? That hurts. Never loved his son. Ever. They're gonna try to get Henry's and Pan's bodies back, spirits back in their own bodies, and then they're gonna defeat Pan once and for all. But by then, as you can see, as the show just started, as this episode just started, the curse is already cast, so there's nothing to do. They can stop it. Re, reminded everyone that it can't be stopped, but it, but it is possible to protect yourself from it. Hope. Never give up on faith. Hope and trust. I'm not gonna say pixie dust. Kidding. Pixie dust is good. It's Pan that's evil. This is an episode with multiple flashbacks. It's the only episode with multiple flashbacks. So this is a flashback of Snow and Charming after their wedding. and then later we're gonna get a different flashback in this episode. This is important. Life lesson. Listen. How is that for a conference quote? Life is full of twists and turns you never see coming. You know, we don't know the Lord's plans. And everything is full of twists and turns, and we just got to have faith and hope and a strong testimony. She chooses hope. Snow White chooses hope. That's good. Look at those unicorns that were supposed to be over Emma's crib. Exactly. If Emma would have kept Henry, things would have been different. If Snow would have kept Emma, things would have been different. But it was just not meant to be. It was not part of the plan. Sometimes you have to give up your child for the best. That's hopefully not something I have to do. Though this show talks a lot about abandoning children. Parents cannot be parents in this show. They're all in a church. Can you show some reverence while you're at it? They're like in a chapel right now, trying to capture a shadow with nice stained glass windows. By the way, pretty cool. Except our churches don't do stained glass windows, sadly, but still pretty nice. Now we're getting a Neverland flashback of how Hook met Tinkerbell. This is the only one that's a little all over the place with flashbacks. Almost every main character gets one. The only one who doesn't get one, Snow White, Charming, Hook, Belle, Snow White, Charming, Hook, Rumpel, Emma. The only person who doesn't get a flashback is Regina in this episode. Everyone else does. Belle, Henry, you name it. And the main six that are on the cover of season 1 and 2 get a flashback except for Regina. Hey, I was lying about this. We did actually get to see Neverland for one scene. This is why it's called the Neverland arc, because it actually appears in a flashback here. Because Regina did not take her chance on love. He doesn't want vengeance anymore, though. President Hook. Hook is willing to risk his life, not just for love or revenge, but for himself. Okay. Nice try, Hook. Man, it's still not reverent in this chapel right now. But that's not their fault. They're trying to capture a shadow, and it just so happens to be in a church. Believe in yourself, Tinkerbell. Everyone else believes in you. Believe in yourself. Believe you can fly. Believe it. Believe it. Do it. Let go of your fears that weigh you down. Believe you can fly. Believe that you're a fairy again, despite what happened to the fairy. Believe it. Believe like the candle is lit. Yeah. They probably put like cut, but now let's lit the candle. Now recut. So it looks like she magically did it. And she trapped the shadow. She believed in herself again. She earned her wings back. Yippee! Though Tinkerbell's not from the Enchanted Forest, she was in Neverland when Regina cast the curse. Oh, never mind. I that comment does not make sense, but it will once we finish the episode. I just realized, wait, we haven't got to that part yet. I'm not going to spoil it. Look, you're still a pirate. I knew he was going to say that. You're a pirate. You're a fairy. You know, Hook risked his life for Emma. Uh-oh. Does that mean Greg's shadow came back to him, or is he dead in Neverland still? That never got explained. He never comes back. Tamara died for sure because of her heart being crushed by Rumple, but come on, Greg is still alive if every shadow returned. But who cares about Greg? We don't like him. Leave him on Neverland to die of starvation or something. Black Fairy's wand. Funny thing, you think Black Fairy doesn't make much importance to the plot, but it does later on. Black Fairy does become a villain in a later season. So that's just a little foreshadow for future season Black Fairy. Don't forget that. Don't forget that they use the Black Fairy's wand in this because that's going to come back later, way later. So you can probably can forget it for now, but I hope you. I'm going to tell you now and keep a note of it so we could come back to it later. We're only in season 3. We have all 7 seasons to possibly have her come. Do you remember in season 2 when Greg and Tamara enchanted a metal machine and Hook put it on Regina, and that's how they kidnapped her at the end of season 2 because her magic, because she doesn't have so that way fairy tale characters can't use magic. That they no one forgot about that. Now that they're back from Neverland, they can use that on Pan, so he can't use his magic. Now he goes into a deep sleep, and Rumple uses this Black Fairy's wand to reunite bodies. Yeah, let's go find Henry. Flashback again. This is right before the pilot, and I mean right before it. Remember when Henry stole Snow's credit card? Mary Margaret at the time, but she stole Mary Margaret's credit card to go find Emma, and this is the flashback of the exact same thing he did. Not steal her credit card, but get the book, and then eventually believe in fairy tales, which started this whole show in the first place. This is full circle, guys. This like would work if this was the end of the show. Only that it's not, and it gets ruined with like you remember how you watch a movie and you have like the perfect trilogy and then they ruin it with a remake or a fourth film? That's not exactly what this is. The second half of season 3 is actually likable. Same with Frozen. It's actually Frozen's coming in season 4. I'm sorry for that spoiler. I did not mean to say that. But anyway, after the Frozen arc, they that's when things start becoming bad and not bad like it's good, but like not good enough. Like it ruined the nostalgia. It felt like breaking a trilogy. Like so, it's kind of cool because this is where the show shined at its peak, and they could have ended it here, but for some people, and for critics out there, you know, they wanted to do it for the money and they kept going with the show. And so then what happens is that they um, ruin it with sequels, basically, more seasons. Though I would like to see a reboot one day because I miss watching new episodes and things like that. Your happy ending may not be so as Snow said, and I was talking over her. I'm so sorry, but your happy ending isn't what you always expect it to be. You know, you can always have hope, and you know, happy ending may not be what you want, but it will be something special. And she said in the pilot to Emma, even believing in the possibility of a happy ending is a powerful thing. She said that to Henry now, and she said that to him in the pilot. Sure, Henry just saw her as Snow White for a second. So this is when he starts believing in fairy tales a little bit. He reads more of the book, then he steals her credit card, and then he goes to New York to get or Boston to get Emma. Yep, and that's how the pilot started. Great flashback. Yeah. Back to present day though. Oh, Henry's back in his own body. Yippee! Yeah, they didn't see you, Henry. They saw you in a different body. Mhm, mhm. Regina! No! I told you the character was gonna die in this episode. Who do you think it is? It's I know you're like, oh, I hope it's not Regina. Relax. The show can surprise you. Final confrontation between Pan and Rumple. Yep. Rumple, you really messed up. Yeah. Pam made the cup so that Greg and Tamara could put it on Regina. It doesn't work on the person who makes it. Remember when Regina cast the curse? She didn't get cursed because she's the one who casted it. Oh no. Now Rumple's back to where he started. He doesn't have magic because the cuff's on him now. Ouch. Rumple's back. He's back to where he was before he became a dark one. With that cuff on, he can't use his dark one magic. He's a coward again. You think he's gonna learn from his ogre war mistakes? Not be a coward? Do you think he's gonna stand up to Pan and defeat him? Speaking of which, now we get a flashback of Belfire's birthday, but this is after Rumple abandoned him, and he had Belle as a handmaid. Another flashback again. It's different. We had Hook and Tinkerbell, Snow and Charming, Snow and Henry, and now Rumple and Belle. Oh, you're gonna cut your hand off? Is that how you're gonna do it? We won't see that. Regina's finally awake. He has the curse. Oh no! And he throws everyone. They can't stop him. They're not. They're forced to be an audience. They don't want to watch you, Pan. He's gonna kill everyone, Rumple. You better hurry. Hashtag miss Peter Pan if you're gonna miss this character. I know he's bad and no one likes him. He's a bad teenager, but the actor did probably pretty good on his part, right? You're gonna miss the actor when he's not around after tonight. Villains come and go, but our main characters will be on the show forever. And Pan's the come and go here. We're gonna say goodbye to Pan like we had to do with Cora and Greg and Tamara and Maleficent. Season 1. Get your tissues ready for the ultimate scene here. Remember, Rumple took out his shadow at the beginning of season 3, and Pam forgot all about that. Now he could get his shadow back and use his dagger that the shadow hid to stab him. The only way to die is if we both die. Remember, Rumple said that in the very beginning. The only way to kill Pan is to kill himself. And we saw that in flashback of why that was. So, after trying to find fates worse than death and trapping him in a box, that didn't work out. So he ultimately decided to do what he could, just to kill himself. Not suicide; it's sacrifice. There's Rumple's father, old in the flesh before he became young again. You're a villain, and villains don't get happy endings. Last quote from Rumple. Last advice to all of us is that, if you're a villain, villains don't get happy endings. I mean, kind of true, but also, what if you repent? What if you change? For anyone who stays a villain and chooses to be, doesn't get a happy ending. Not a fairy tale one, anyway. Oh, Rumple died. That's why I told you to get your tissues ready if you love Rumple. He's gone. I told you a main character was going to die on the show. Prepared you for a couple weeks now. Now it's here. Now I can say it without spoiling. Rumple died. Kind of so ironic. Never mind. I can't say anything, and we're watching Wonderland next week, so I can't even say anything until 2 months maybe. But it's so ironic to what season 7 will do. We're gonna have a similar situation with season 7. But anyway, that's when the show will actually end, though. This feels like a series finale, yet the show goes on. The show must go on, as they always say. Just because good things have to come to an end at some point doesn't mean that they will when you think it will. Yeah. This is when I thought, wow, this show can go on forever. Because this is not the end of the season. So they don't do trailers on season finales. Just the fact that this is not a season finale. They gave us a trailer after the episode, and I was like, the show's not over? What? Because I wasn't into social media back then, so I thought it was the end too when I watched this. But there's more, guys. You can look it up on the internet to see that I'm right. There's only one way to stop the curse. It created Storybrooke. It's not an option, sadly. Emma and Henry have to leave their family behind, which is why it feels like a series finale. Now I can finally say it. This is so sad. After a character dies, now our main character protagonist has to leave the show. Has to leave Storybrooke, I mean, not the show. Happy endings aren't always what we think they are. That's true. Emma has touched the lives of everyone here. Oh, Emma, imagine you're an orphan. You just found your parents, only to leave them a few weeks later forever. That's hard. Like, even if you believe in the plan of salvation, that's hard. Because it's not, I'm not talking about your parents dying. Like, they separate from you. Like, alive and well separately, but they have to. That's rarely to happen in real life because curses are not real, but still. At least Emma doesn't have to crush her child's heart to stop the curse. That's only to cast it, which is why Pan crushed Felix's heart. To stop the curse, it's not to kill the thing you love most, it's just to say goodbye, which is better than, because this is a children's show too. It's a family show. We didn't go that far. Now we're getting a flashback of Emma's birth again to Henry. We saw this at the beginning of season 3, but here it is. Just to remind us that Emma gave Henry up, and now she gets to live a life where she didn't give him up. Like an alternate reality of sorts. Like if you go back and change the past, you create an alternate reality from a timeline, if you get what I mean. But it's not time travel. Well, now she has to be a mother because she's forced to live alone with Henry. For Henry, it's like, oh, I just have to say goodbye to my dad, my grandparents. I don't have to say goodbye to my mom, to my other mom. But Emma has to say goodbye to her mom and dad, which is probably harder for her. 'Cause she grew up an orphan too, and she can't be with her parents. Henry's lucky to be with Emma. You don't want him to grow up like Emma did. Henry's blaming himself for this. True. If Henry would have never got Emma in Boston and started this whole show to begin with, none of this would have happened. We would have not got to the point we were right now if he didn't do that. We had that flashback too, where Snow White gave him the book. If Snow White never gave him the book, he would have never got Emma, and this would not happen right now. Regina cast a curse out of evil, and she's a villain, and maybe villains don't get happy ending, which is why she can't be with Henry. But that's not true. Henry's reassuring her that you're a good person, Regina. It's kind of sad how Regina has to leave her son. Hey, everyone abandons their child at some point in the show. It's time for Regina to abandon her son, like Emma abandoned him too. Except Emma gets to take care of him this time. Maybe for 10 years again. 10 years with Regina, then you get 10 years with Emma. That would be cool. The show doesn't do that. We want Henry to still be a kid, right, guys? We don't want him to be an adult. Not yet, anyway. He becomes adult later on, but not yet. We're not doing that time jump yet. The show is still young, and we're still with the main cast. The reboot is seasons away. So this does feel like a series finale. Do you get what I was saying this whole night? Now you know what I mean. Feels like a series finale. She, so Regina's saying that, yeah. Hmm. It's not. It's a sad ending. I'm glad this is not how the show ended because that's so sad. It's not as happy as you would expect. That's why I was saying that, you did not see this coming, right? Especially at this early in the show with most of the seasons left to watch. My gift to you. Last time she said that, it was a threat at Snow's wedding. This time it's a blessing. She's redeeming herself. This is Regina's redemption arc in full. Being able to give up Henry, it would be hard for her character. She could easily go back evil for it, but she didn't. She gives up Henry honorably, nobly, and gives Emma and Henry good memories. Regina has come a long way since her villainous. So, I think she's earned her forgiveness by this point in the show, don't you? Think so? Yeah. So yeah, Storybrooke is wiped out. If anyone were to drive in like Greg and Tamara did, if anyone from the real world were to turn into a theme park again, they wouldn't, because they would just be a plain old forest like it was before the curse was cast. Everything's just going back to as if it never existed. Like imagine this marathon never existing. If the show never existed, I wouldn't be doing this marathon right now. It's like erasing the entire 2.5 seasons we've watched so far from the show. That's what this curse is doing. You forget the whole 2.5 seasons ever happened, and the Regina never cast her curse. That's what basically this is. Except Regina did still cast her curse, but for Emma and Henry, it just never happened, and Emma still doesn't know what happened to her parents. As soon as they cross that town line, they're gonna forget who they are, and then as soon as they cross the town line, that whole town line is gonna disappear. So no one can come in and forget who they are after this. But Emma and Henry will. It disappears, and yeah. So like as Regina said, their memories will be gone too, and they won't have anything to any memory or any token of appreciation to hold on to from their family. Imagine you go through amnesia and you forget your whole family. That must be a hard life to live. This is what amnesia pretty much looks like. Remember who you are. Now they're the last people to cross the town line because, as you will see in a minute, the town line will disappear. And look, the curse is destroying our favorite show. There it goes, destroying Henry's room, destroying the clock tower. It's a great way to kind of say goodbye, send off to Once Upon a Time, but it's not. This is what's going to be funny. We're going to watch the Once Upon a Time spin-off show next week, and when we get done with that, Once Upon a Time is going to be like, ha ha, psych, like I was left, but I came right back for more. It's going to be funny. And in the middle of a season two, you would think this could be a great way to end a season and start a new one fresh, but no, it's the same old season three, just another half to go. So I think to make this better, I would have saved this for the end of season three instead of in the middle, is what I would have done better. Because if it can't be a series finale, it should be at least a season finale. It doesn't make sense for the future episodes to be part of the same season. Because as you see, you would think, okay, let's watch Once Upon a Wonderland and then season four. No, we still have season three episodes to watch, guys. We're just going to stop for now and come back to the rest of season three later. See, the talent disappeared. No one else can forget their memories. Emma and Henry are the last. That's it, guys. End of show. The end. Nope, kidding. 1 year later. This is why it's not the end. Watch. Here's our cliffhanger. It doesn't spoil. I'm still right. I said it wasn't going to spoil anything about the next plot. It doesn't. Other seasons will. But this first half a season arc does not spoil the future of the show. We will see Elsa at the end of the season. We will see whatever comes next after that. And after that, when we get to the cliffhangers of the mid-season finales. But this one doesn't tell us what it is. So that's why I thought, for as this is possibly the end of the show, which is why I want to watch Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, and then throw Once Upon a Time back to you in the face to tell you there's more. We're not going to watch more, though, until after we watch Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. So, anyway, Emma and Henry are having breakfast. It's 9:28. We'll end pretty shortly soon. But Emma and Henry are having breakfast. There's a big knock on the door. They don't know who they are. They're just living their normal lives 1 year later. Again, that's the time jump is only 1 year. There's no need to do. It's not a reboot. It's picking up where the show left off, but there's a time jump, which is why I think it's a good time to pause and watch Once Upon a Wonderland. Not for a year, but for the timeline of the show, we'll spend the next month making it a year by watching Wonderland. Mm-hmm. It's Hook, and he kissed Emma. Oh no, Emma, you're so I'm gonna talk in a second. And that's the end of the episode. Woohoo! All right, guys, that will wrap up for the night. It is 9:29, so it is time to wrap up. And even if I were to look for comments, there's none. So there's nothing to talk about. So we can just wrap up right here. We filled in our Q&A time with a bunch of just comments in between episodes. So with that said, we are going to call it a night. Oh, I did start 3 minutes late, so maybe I will talk for at least 2 minutes, but I'm trying not to do more than that. All right. And the credits are wrapping up. Edward Kisses and Adam Horowitz are the creators of the show, and it's produced by ABC. All right. So now, with that being over, I usually don't watch the credits of the show, only when it's the last episode of the night. So as we just saw, and as I was talking, there was a knock on the door. It was Hook. He said his family's in danger. Her family's in danger. But as far as Emma knows, she doesn't have parents. She just has a son. That's her only family. And so he's kind of confused. She's kind of confused at what Hook's talking about. He just looks like a madman. But then he really now Hook's not used to this world, so like he didn't know that kissing Emma was against the law, insulting a random stranger's door and trespassing through their property. He doesn't know about all that, so he just walks in like he owns the place and kisses Emma, and then Emma pushes him back and says, "I'm going to call the cops," and and so yeah, she doesn't actually call the cops, but because Hook gets away. But um, I'm like at that moment, I'm like, Hook, you better run. She's calling the cops. Or no, she's like, if you do that again, I'll call the cops. So she gave him a warning. So yeah. So yeah, now Emma's family is in trouble again. And Hook's gonna have to try to get Emma to believe in fairy tales all over again, just like season one. And unfortunately, because Storybrooke doesn't exist, he has to do that from New York City. But I'm not gonna spoil what happened to their family. That's going to be something that gets revealed in flashbacks during the past year. So for a long time, we've been getting flashbacks to before Regina Castor curse, before all that, right? But now when we start the second half of season 3, we're getting flashbacks of the year that was jumped skipped. So anyway, we will find out what happened to their family in the coming episodes, but for now we're going to take a break. But before I change subjects, I'm going to say, Hook's going to probably go to jail for trying to convince Emma that fairy tales are real. It's one thing for a kid to say that, and it's your own son. And you're going to Storybrooke, so, you have 22 episodes to do it. But Hook's an adult. And if you're just eavesdropping and breaking into a mother and a son's home without permission, and you're pretty much just insulting them, and you're pretty much just, doing something that would get you in jail, basically. Um, it works with a child like season 1, but Hook's an adult, so it doesn't work. And Emma will call the cops. You will go to jail, and jail will prevent you from getting her to believe in fairy tales. So it's a little more harder when it's an adult that's trying to get you to believe in fairy tales, because that could put you in a madhouse and a mental hospital, pretty much. Versus as a child, you're kind of a little more innocent towards that. So anyway, it's going to be rough when we get to the next episode, but it's not going to be for a while because, again, now I'm changing subjects and it's time to end because it's 9:33. We started at 6:53, so we had our fair share of starting 3 minutes late. Now we're 3 minutes overtime, so we're going to end. But just to change subjects and only talk about this for 20 seconds, I promise. We are starting Once Upon a Time in Wonderland next week, next Sunday. So for those who don't know, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland next Sunday, same time. Most people, so not a lot. Unlike when I started this marathon, I got a bunch of votes. This time, I only got a few. At first, I had a tie. One person chose Thursday, one person chose Sundays, but then I reposted the poll and begged people to vote, and we had a couple more Sundays. So around only 4 people voted, but nevertheless, I think we're good at just keeping the show on Sundays. Once Upon a Time is a show that aired on Sundays for all seasons but the last. And It's the spin-off series that aired on Thursdays, and so that's why I threw that out there in case you wanted to watch it on Thursdays. But no, we'll do it on Sundays. It's not as nostalgic as the main series, but it's just one short 13 episode TV show. We can get through it fast. So even if it's not that comfortable to watch on Sundays, we'll get through it in 4 weeks. It will be over before you can say yippee. So we'll get through that fast, and then when we get back to Once Upon a Time season 3, episode 12, in 5 weeks from now, it will be more nostalgic because that did air on a Sunday, but the spin-off series did not. Only the main show stayed on Sunday. So anyway, yes, and luckily, like, shows sometimes jump around dates. Once Upon a Time was fortunate enough to stay on Sundays for most of its run. It's only the last season, which again, I might send out a poll when that comes, but since we're not on season 7 right now, I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to stick to Sundays. So that's going to be included with the Wonderland series, unfortunately. So good, fortunately, I mean, not unfortunately. So I don't know what words I'm saying. I'm happy to still do it on Sunday. So Once Upon a Time Wonderland next Sunday, August 31st. I'm going to count that as the start of our fall season. So that'll be fun. And yes, this should wrap up our summer Neverland trip. It was so fun. Now for the fall, we got Wonderland. Second half of season 3 that I'm not going to spoil, and then I did slip out Frozen on accident. I'm so sorry. I so hope I wasn't going to keep that under wraps because that was a big reveal and now I ruined it. Maybe you're not listening. Maybe you didn't watch my whole live stream, so maybe you missed it. Thank goodness if you did. I'll try not to mention it again next week or the week after. But yeah, but because we're doing Once Upon a Time Wonderland, it's going to be 8 to 9 weeks before we do Frozen. So anyway, yes, Frozen does come to Once Upon a Time. And I did say once before that modern Disney films do get adapted to Once Upon a Time eventually. And so Frozen's the first one, actually. Just now that I think about it, and now that I've accidentally told you. So anyway, but it's going to be a while before we get Elsa, Anna, and all of them. They're in season 4, not the second half season 3. So luckily I haven't slipped out this second half season 3 yet. I haven't accidentally spoiled, thank goodness. So I can't wait for you to find out by yourself without my help what the second half season 3 is all about. But first, we're going to watch Once Upon a Time Wonderland. So until then, I guess I'll see you guys next week. It is 9:36. We are 3 minutes overtime. So I'm going to stop right now. First things first, always end Facebook, right? Yep, I'm going to end Facebook. But yeah, so I'm going to say one big goodbye so I don't have to repeat myself twice. Happy week, everyone. See you next Sunday for Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, a trip down the rabbit hole. So stay tuned for that. And if you don't have Disney Plus, it's only on Disney Plus. You can rent it on Amazon stuff, but like if you want to get it with a subscription, it's only on Disney Plus. If you only have Hulu, I'm sad to say it's not on there. You can either get ahead on the marathon by watching the rest of season 3, or you could just wait. But we're going to watch Once Upon a Time Wonderland next Sunday. So without further ado, have a great night. See you next week. And I'm going to say bye for both Facebook and YouTube. But for those watching YouTube, I'm going to keep the live stream on for a couple seconds while I end Facebook. So just click off. I'm not going to say anything. Bye, y'all.